Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Ontario Masters AoS Championship. I know it says round 1 on the screen, but that's wrong. Joined tonight here with Carl. How are you doing, buddy?
Hello, hello.
So the graphic is the only one I did not update, apparently. I totally forgot to do that, but that's all good. Just a quick introduction as the players are getting set up and deployed. This was the Ontario Masters Championship. As I said, the top 8 players from or 8 of the top players from the Canadian ITC rankings. So this is based purely off of Canadian events. We did have 2 players, Evan and Zach, who weren't able to attend, as I mentioned in our round 1, letting Levon and Mitch get into the event. And we are actually seeing Mitch round 2 here. This is table 2 of the championship. But just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to the supporters of our channel, our premium members specifically, and everyone watching and everyone that supports us. But our premium members really are the backbone and allow us to do all this kind of content. So huge shout out to our premium members. They're definitely the producers behind this. And also want to give a big shout out to Torchlight Games and Hobbies in Burlington, which was the venue that we played at. A beautiful place, as you can see. This is one of their stream rooms, and it's always a blast whenever we play there. Love that place. And also want to give a big shout out to our buddy Josh, who was the TO for this event. And Josh is in the chat tonight, so he'll be able to give all the hot gossip from the TO perspective in chat. But yeah, lots going on. Obviously, big match here. We got Mitch with his Maggotkin of Nurgle facing Yury, who's notorious with his Sons of Behemat.
Yeah, basically took this army to #1 ITC in Canada, and I think he was in the top 10 overall as well.
Yep, I think he was 8th or something like that, or maybe even higher than that. I think Ridge was actually 8th.
So Yury is very practiced with this list and is scary to face. Yeah. You can see the big Georgian there.
Yeah.
And Mitch is a very good player as well. Kind of a scouting report of our 2 players here. Yeah. He's a very good player. He plays a lot of different armies, has a good grasp of the game, but he has settled on a list that he thinks is winning. So he's been playing this list quite often as well, mostly in TTS, but we'll get to see it in action here.
Yeah, I think we said it the other day, but Mitch is a Chaos fanatic. I think he probably owns every Chaos army. Loves playing Chaos, so seeing him play Nurgle was no surprise, definitely in his wheelhouse of armies he knows. But let's look at all the matchups for today. So, funny enough, your 2 commentators tonight during round 2 were actually facing off. Carl and I were on the top table actually in round 2. With there were 3 of us who had max points round 1. Mitch, I think, coming just under max, and that led to the pairings that we're seeing today. So. The top 2 matchups, those 4 players, we were all at this point vying to get into the finals. It was just a 3-round event, only 8 players, so we get a natural, inclusive winner. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, so Carl, we did have you with your Cruel Boys, which we saw on Monday, and we played against. I was playing the Stormcast Eternals. We'll talk about that match at some point tonight, I'm sure.
I am sure, yeah, that was a crazy game.
Yeah, if there is one match I wish was ever recorded, that was one. That was an absolutely nuts game. But
it was probably the closest game I've ever played of AoS. And yeah, I was sweating so much, and I usually don't sweat during games. Yeah. And that one was something.
It was wild.
It's like one of those things that you talk about in the locker room that happened but didn't happen, like the dream team scrimmage from '92.
Exactly. But otherwise, Yury obviously playing his Sons of Behemat tonight, Mitch playing Maggotkin of Nurgle. The other matchups we had going on in round 2 was Nick with his Idoneth Deepkin versus Ridge with his Seraphon. And then the 4th match was Matt with his Anvil Guard Cities of Sigmar, which we did see against you, Carl, on Monday. Mm-hmm. Facing off against Levon and his Soulblight Gravelords. Obviously, Levon taking them to notable success at LVO, coming in 2nd. So, Yeah,
It
big
looks like
there.
the game's kicking off here. I guess I'll quickly talk about Mitch's list because he's the
Yep.
one moving his models first. So his list is actually fairly simple. He has 2 Lords of Afflictions, the trait of overpowering stench, so anything within 7 can't receive or issue commands, and the Split Horn Helm, which gives him a 4-up ward, so very, very tanky boy. Then he has 4 Gold Blight Lords, 2 Gold Blight Lords, 2 Gold Blight Lords, 2 Gold Blight Lords, 2 Gold Blight Lords, and finally another 2 Gold Blight Lords, and it's in a Rotbringer Cyst. Notably, he is doing right now his pre-game movement, so all Gold Blight Lords in Mitch's army has an 8-inch pre-game movement. So this isn't even the game starting right now. Nobody has taken turn. He just gets to move all his units 8 inches, which makes them very, very fast.
Yeah, and notable here, Mitch, with the Rotbringer Cyst, being a 1-drop, obviously, is going to allow him to dictate the turn order, because I think Yury was a 3-drop here. But with his Sons of Behemat, we'll pull up his list now. Nothing too wild. He's playing Breaker Tribe here today. He, for a lot of the year, played 4 Knighted Guardians, 2 Gatebreakers, and 2 War Stompers. Here tonight, he's got 3 Gatebreakers and 2 single Man Crushers, all in Breaker Tribe.
It's a lot more output, I think, than what he's usually used to, but less wounds.
Yeah. So, and obviously a couple different changes. Monstrously tough for the 40 wounds on his general with the enchanted Portcullis. But Arcane Tome and Flaming Weapon on another one. It's going to be obviously, hard-hitting Guardians, but it's really nuts, I think. This match, even just looking at this turn 1, where Mitch is deployed, like the fact that he's already at the center of the board.
And they are playing Savage Gains, I believe.
Yes,
so,
that's correct.
Both those middle objectives there that you see that Mitch is on currently already is worth 2 points. Your home objective is worth 1, and then your opponent's objective is worth 4.
Yep.
So Mitch is threatening his opponent's home objective right now. Now, based on how Yury has deployed, I think what he ended up doing is split his Gargants with only 1 Gargant touching the point, because obviously he counts for 20 wounds. Those Gold Blight Lords, while they're very, very tanky and 8 wounds apiece, they only count for 2 each, so he has to throw 11
which
Gold Blight Lords.
Which is going to be tough to fit that many on one objective and use them effectively. So
I think they're just having a discussion of where he can go, and I think with Mitch being a 1-drop, I think
he is going to have choice. Yeah, I think they're probably just talking through their armies right now, kind of letting them know. Obviously, Nurgle is still a rather new tome. We've seen obviously a couple results coming in, from around the world at events with them doing well, but it's still like a rather new book, so hasn't been explored a ton. I know for myself, I hadn't seen this kind of a build in play. And the top down really shows an interesting perspective. It's like all those bugs lined up across the center.
Crazy. So I think they're going into the first turn now. So Mitch is taking it. I think based on how he was deployed, he was going to take it regardless. You don't want to get charged by the 3 megas and potentially get smashed. So he did choose aggressive expansion, which is guaranteed at this point for him.
Yep, he actually interesting thing, because the pregame move, he actually already controls those objectives.
So he can leave them. Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. There's just one of those situations that rarely comes up, right? And even I did a double check of rules just to see exactly how it worked. And because you start on the objectives, you don't have to be deployed on it, but as he's starting there on them, takes control.
I just got a message that my audio is crap, so hopefully this sounds better for y'all. My settings keep changing for some reason, and I have to check them. So let me know in chat if this sounds better than what I was sounding at the start there. So seeing the pairing process and all that, it was interesting because I thought that Mitch wasn't gonna have enough damage. So we'll see obviously how this game pans out. But my theory or my prediction, prior to knowing what the end of the game was, is for Mitch to either pin Yury in his deployment zone and win. That's kind of his path to victory. And for Yury, he just has to fight outside into the outside of the encircling that Mitch is doing. Now the thing is, if he can put toes of Gargants into those objectives, he will take them. No.
Yeah, with those
ifs, ands, or buts.
Those 20 bodies, but obviously into the movement phase, like you said, Mitch being super aggressive. The pregame, 8-inch move, just moving everything forward, doing the exact same thing here. At least 16 inches up the board. And
how do you toe on objectives if there's a line that is just straight through?
Worth noting.
So I don't think the Mitch's list has enough damage to deal with the Gargants, honestly. Looking at both lists from a theoretical standpoint.
Yeah, and
now, I didn't watch this game. I obviously know the outcome of what happened, but that is my theory.
So I think to piggyback on that, just with how strong Yury's been throughout the year, I think a lot of us would be betting on Yury here. Mitch is definitely a solid player as well, but Yury's just been so dominant with that.
Yeah, well, he's been winning left, right, and center, everything with his Gargants. So we see the charges here. Interesting thing about the Puscoil is that they do mortals on the charge. The heroes do it on a 2+, and the units have half of them being with the Dolores Toxin. So those guys do 2+, and then the other guys do 4+. So each of those 2-man units will have potential for a D3 and then half of a chance for another D3.
And just want to note that Mitch did roll for the Cycle of Corruption, and it's starting on Plight of Misery for round 1, which means Yury with the Sons of Behemat cannot use any heroic actions, or I think the Rally or Inspiring Presence command abilities, which the command abilities isn't that big, but not being able to do a heroic action. Exactly. Stopped Yury here from doing Finest Hour or at least generating a command point.
Yeah, so
just
there's Sleepy Gary there cheering on his son's brother, of course.
Yeah.
Hey, Sleepy.
Yeah, so here it sounds like Mitch is deciding to roll all his impact hits at the end of the charge phase. Now he should be doing them as each unit, actually each model charges.
Yeah.
In this situation, I don't think it's going to.
It doesn't matter too much because of how many wounds.
Exactly. It's not like he's going to be clearing much or anything with the impact hits. But in other situations, that's just something worth noting that.
Correct. Yeah,
the Nurgle player should be
out
and make other charges more difficult.
Correct. Yeah. So that is definitely a nice pickup there. Yeah, this is a lot of flies. Like I don't know.
Getting right into it, turn 1. Big thing's just going to be, I think, how fast and depending on how many if he does make all these charges, how fast can Yury work through these bodies with his Guardians? Now, obviously, in Breaker Tribe, in this build, he's gone for more damage with this
a bit more damage with 3 breakers. Yeah.
Yeah. So they will obviously be better than the War Stompers at chewing through here. So
now
fingers crossed.
We're kind of getting into Mitch's still. Mitch is charging with his whole army, so he's still currently charging. In terms of deployment, if you were in Yury's position and you knew, I guess you have to deploy before the pregame move, but would you deploy further back? Like, would you deploy at a range that if you auto run 6-1 of the megas, they can just touch the objective, or would you do what Yury did and kind of deploy kind of in a very it's an aggressive position actually.
Yes.
Looking at it.
And well, I think a big thing to note is Mitch would have been deployed first, or at least Yury might have only put 1 model down before Mitch's a 1-drop. His whole army would go down. I don't know if seeing how Mitch deployed that straight line across, if Yury skewing to one side or the other would help him chew through one side faster.
Yeah, kind of an encircling
Yeah,
instead.
rather than trying, spreading out and hitting all, like getting hit, straight across the sides. I don't know, but I mean, Mitch looks like he failed only one charge out of what? He's got 8 units between his heroes and the units of pust oils, so.
Yeah, based on where Yury is, they would be 22 inches apart. Mitch moves 8, pre-game move of 8, so 16. So he's looking at 6-inch charges, which is pretty easy.
Yeah, for whatever's on the line
to do. Oh, we are looking at the mortal wounds round to go in. Looks like 2 mortal wounds on the left, 5 mortal wounds on the left.
So that's to the first. Yes, the first 2 are to the Datebreaker, 5 to the Man Crusher.
Yeah.
4 to the
center Gatebreaker.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that's 6 to the right Man Crusher. Jeez, Louise, that is a lot of damage just coming from the thing. Now, it is only on the charge, so once you take the impact hits,
if you survive it,
we're getting into kind of the grindy element of Nurgle here. And the Gargants do that very well as well, and they have the -3/3 damage. Now the saving grace for Mitch obviously is the 5-up ward for everything. So even straight through his armor can potentially be able to shrug some of that off. But I kind of talk about my game plan for when I play Savage Gains. I usually lean heavily on one side and try to encircle, because obviously your opponent's point is worth 4. I also tend to run armies don't have very much bodies, so I have to flash on one side and then encircle, and it becomes kind of like a toilet where the other person will go the other way and we kind of just encircling. But then I hope that my encircling is faster than my opponent's encircling.
Yeah. And obviously that's a big strategy in many missions and matchups. But yeah, and this is just, honestly, this is wild to see just how fast Mitch has got, 1,800 points of his army into Yury in his deployment zone.
Yep.
Turn 1.
22 inches away. Yeah. And if you deploy further back, like I was saying before, you're not on the points and could potentially be, pinned even further back, because you would still have to fight through this whole line. Like, Mitch doesn't necessarily have to engage in order to enact his game plan.
Yep. It does look like, so the Datebreaker on the right used he roared the Lord of Afflictions over there. Center Datebreaker stomped, doing 2 mortal wounds to 1 of the foils. So just starting off into the combat phase, Mitch is starting on the right side with a unit of 2 pust oils. The most bottom unit on the right, going into the Man Crushers. That's where he's activating first, it looks like. So this is going to be, I think, very interesting to see where we are, or what the table looks like at the end of this turn. Let alone at the end of the battle round, but even just the turn will dictate so much, I feel.
So the thing with Gargants, and whenever you face Gargants, is you have a time clock. If you are able to kill one Gargant turn 1 and another Gargant turn 2, you are speeding ahead towards a victory. If you're unable to kill a Gargant turn 1, then the longer it takes you to kill that one single Gargant, just means that there's more scoring opportunities for the Gargant player.
And obviously, they do bracket
the Man Crusher.
Yes, lifted,
taken off there.
Yep. And adding insult to injury, Mitch won the roll for Timber there, the little Man Crusher, so he didn't fall on any pust oils. And Yury is activating the Man Crusher, the Datebreaker on the right side. The Datebreaker on the right side is using all-out attack on the center Datebreaker. So that's his general on the right side. Yep.
It is very interesting, overwhelming stench. It is, or overpowering stench. It is wholly within 7, I believe, to receive. You have to be the unit that you're stopping
Yes.
the commands from has to be wholly within 7.
So it looks like that center one couldn't issue to himself, but he could receive the command ability. So yeah, the center Gatebreaker so is attacking first into, or not first, but attacking now into the 4+ Goyles. Obviously trying to hit Mitch's biggest unit, take as many down. Obviously limit the damage coming back to him.
Yeah, for sure.
And he did. So in addition to all out attack, he did actually use the Inspired Triumph, which he had in this list, on that center Gatebreaker.
Ooh, that is not good.
And
I
the
saw three misses there.
The Pus Goyles also used all-out defense here, so trying to, again, weather the storm a little bit.
Here's his ward saves.
Yeah, this is going to be a big one. This combat, in every moment here, it's crazy how fast we're into the action.
Yep.
So
I'll quickly answer some questions while they roll some attacks. So he only does 4 damage to the Pus Goyles.
okay, that's not good. That's not a good start.
No, with 3 damage, 10 attacks, you're expecting much more than that. With all-out attack and inspired, you're looking at 3s and 2s minus 3 damage on that.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was just godly mortal wound saves there, or absolutely atrocious attacking on Yury's part.
I think it was Yury. Because I saw at the very end there was only 6 ward saves for Mitch, and he saved half of it. So that was 3 damage coming from the flail. So 1 damage coming from the other attacks, both the grip and the. That is very rough. Just to answer the questions in the chat while we continue to roll some damage and attacks. From Lord Billy, how do you balance enjoying an army's playstyle versus their aesthetic? I love the tanky, grindy nature of Nurgle, but just can't enjoy how they look. I think first and foremost, you have to go with how an army looks.
Aesthetic is huge for me.
I always go first for aesthetics. Yeah, right. Because you're going to be painting those models before you even get them on the table. I've started army projects, which unfortunately didn't pan out because I didn't enjoy painting the models because I don't like the way they look. So I would go aesthetics first, Lord Billy.
You try to pick something that you love that you'll see through to the end and want to keep adding to that collection in the future.
Correct.
But we do see, so it is Mitch's activation, and he has is going with the Lord of Afflictions on the left-hand side into the only thing going into that tagging that left Gatebreaker right now, and the Lord of Afflictions is using all out attack. So see what kind of none of these guys have high, super high rend or multiple damage attacks or too high of damage attacks. Most of it is all 1 damage, but
but for every 6 that he rolls as well as those disease cancers, we see Mitch has those clever blue pieces on the bottom left of your screen, which he uses to track his disease counters, and that's going to rack up some mortals at the very end.
And that Lord of Afflictions does deal 8 damage to the Gatebreaker on the left, and I'm adding a few disease points, as you say. That's going to start, chipping those guys down as well.
I mean, the Gatebreaker did 4 damage to the Pus Goyles, and then the Lord of Affliction does 8 damage to the Gatebreaker. Plus 3 disease points. It converts to about 0.5 wounds per disease point, so we're looking at
1 to 2. Yeah.
So 1 to 2, mortal wounds on top. Yeah, I'm actually very surprised at the output of this army. So I've never actually played the full Goyle army. I've dabbled in some test games with 1 or 2 units of Goyles, and they are surprising me with how much damage they're doing right now.
Dayton is asking if we're seeing Iron Jaws just with how fast and aggressive this is, but no.
Oh yeah.
This is the wound sink of Nurgle going in turn 1, eyeing up all of Yury's gardens right now, and so far he's doing more damage, taking less. It's going Mitch's way right now, so this is going to be, again, I think if we got to see more damage out of the other 2 Gatebreakers.
9 damage from the right Gatebreaker. That's not bad. That's double of what the inspired all-out attack Mr. Man did.
Yes, and does kill one of the Pus Goyles at least, so we see the first bug go down. I think it's only, 15 left in Mitch's list? Something like that, so...
And don't forget, Nurgle has summoning as well, so he can bolster his forces later on. Now it's demons, but he's going to be able to capture those points. Now, with this pinning maneuver, generally what you want to do is retreat outside and try to cap the points because it's wide open for him right now. But because you have summoning, you can still cover those back objectives that you have and prevent the Gargants from getting there.
And just to answer Dayton's question in the chat, the cycle is, or sorry, for the cycle of corruption this turn, it is starting on Plight of Misery in round 1. So again, not allowing Yury to do any heroic actions is really the only impact in this game. But it stopped him, again, knowing Mitch was coming in all in, stopped him from using a Finest Hour on one of his gate breakers, which is it's actually really huge. Both for the extra tankiness as well as the +1 to wound. He would have had another Gargant with +1 to wound.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a question here. Where was it? Oh, I think I just lost it.
Well, Zach Mercick was asking.
You couldn't?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I blanked that out of my mind. Loads. I'll just say that is my answer.
Yep,
I'm notorious for starting armies.
And I am
finishing them.
On the opposite side, I am a hoarder. I am an army hoarder. Way too many. Just over the weekend, painted up Daughters of Cain and got a game in actually on Tuesday with Catherine. Well, I'm excited to get that battle report out in a week or two. Finally getting the Daughters of Cain out. So,
Simon, this game is eye-opening for me in terms of what the what the Pusgoyle Lord of Affliction list can do.
Yeah,
it is nasty. 2
War Scrolls, and only two of the same hero, so very little complexity to it. But we're just seeing the raw efficiency right now of the Pusgoyles in the Drowned Men sub-faction for that pre-game move, getting across the board turn 1, and so far both being a wound sink and soaking up a ton of wounds, but also dealing out enough damage between impact hits and mortals, and obviously we are racking up disease points as we're doing some chip damage in combat. We've already seen one of the Man Crushers go down.
So the left Pusgoyles did 6 damage to the left Man Crusher.
Okay, so that looks like that unit of 4 then.
No, the 2.
Oh, to the Man Crusher. Sorry, to the Man Crusher.
Yeah, to the Man Crusher. And then the 4-man unit is now going into the Gatebreaker there.
And yes, after that, so the Man Crusher attacked back, actually, having survived. It looks like on 1 wound only. He attacked back and dealt no damage.
I didn't even want to mention that. Yeah, but he dealt 0 damage. In terms of Bart's Wargaming, what battle tactics can you even do? We'll see what Yury chooses on his turn.
One thing, just that looking at it off the top of my head, he is tagging that center objective with his central gatebreaker. At least monstrous takeover is an option because none of the Pusgoyles are monsters here, so at least has that option.
So potentially choose Broken Ranks, which is probably the easiest one.
Yep, that as well. Killing one of the units of Pusgoyles. He's already has a unit down to 1 model remaining on that right side, so that's not.
I see some Wound Walkers going down to the middle Gatebreaker there.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, this big unit of 4 is Mitch's biggest unit in his army, so going to be doing hopefully a lot of work. Mitch is hoping. Yeah, constantly racking up those disease points, as you said, we're seeing those counters out everywhere. Increasing the dice. Going to be some extra mortal wounds at the end of at the end of the turn, so we'll get to see exactly how that mechanic, or the impact of that mechanic, which is, again, with this being a new book, it's always so interesting to see them in action soon, or like when somebody can get that army out quick, because it takes a while for people to, kind of catch up and understand what's going on. I know, looking at Mitch's list coming into this event, I hadn't played Nurgle in probably a year or two, and if I've ever even seen the Pusgoyles on the table. So
yeah, that's the thing. You don't see the Pusgoyles, and It's incredibly difficult to predict. You kind of see what the theoretical things that they can do in the book, but once you start combining lists or combining rules, sub factions, allegiance, that sort of thing, I think the Nurgle book is one that is going to take a little bit of time for people to discover. It's not inherently as powerful as Ironjaw's was or Stormcast. It's like it's not in your face. But people are starting to figure it out and have some good results. And we see here, like, Yury with his Gargants is very, very tough to beat. And Mitch is taking it to him right now.
Yeah, and we're still very first turn of the game, top of round 1. And so those 4 pustules did end up doing 11 damage to the Central Daybreaker. So that's nearly a third of his health, right? That's pretty significant. Let alone...
There's the Lord of Afflictions.
Oh, wow, that's huge. Yeah, so Mitch just lifted his Lord of Afflictions. That Daybreaker did kill him. That's his general, too. Oh, I mean, that's actually a battle tactic denied right there, where he can't do Slay the Warlord later.
Yeah, but this does mean that Mitch is gonna hurt for CPs for the rest
points.
of the game.
Yep, yeah, that's big. So at least we're seeing some damage coming through. That Lord of Afflictions, his general, did have, I think it's the artifact or the trait, or
Ward save, yeah. So it's the most tanky,
most resilient.
Yeah.
But I guess we're just with more, I guess, regular damage output there, from that Gargant, unlike the one in the center who clearly just failed horribly,
miserably. Yeah.
So at least he's getting a couple guys, so that's a second bug down. I think that's only 14 left to go for Yury now.
That is so many. He's already lost a Man Crusher. Looks like 10 wounds on the guy on the very left, 15 on the guy in the middle, and then 8 on the guy on the right.
And
Fraud.
Sorry, just asking about lists. Fraud, if you do head down to the description of this video, you can find a link to the lists on Twitter, as well as we'll pop them up throughout the game to talk about. But this is, yeah. I can tell you the Nurgle list isn't too complicated.
Yeah.
You got 2 Lord of Afflictions
twos.
and 14 Pustule Blight Lords.
Yeah, 1 and a 4 and then 2s afterwards. Oh, there's more damage coming down. And this is not the end of the damage from Mitch's list, because we have disease coming through. And those things can spike as well. And when he gets to the wheel, it's +1 to those disease rolls, those are gonna hurt.
Yeah, for sure. This is going to be very interesting. And again, I love getting these looks at new armies on the table, because it's just so enlightening, right? Like, I'm
right.
Yeah, I'm a player that just needs to get the reps and practice, or study through things like battle, and just seeing this in action is so different. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. Both armies do only have 2 war scrolls. So neither are overly complicated, but we know the Sons of Behemat have been, so far in AoS 3, they've been arguably the biggest menace of the edition. Not that they don't have counters or downsides, but they have been a consistently strong and capable army, competing for event wins. And as we know and have talked about, Yury has been, was dominant throughout 2021, winning and on the podium at a ton of events. So seeing him in this position is a little surprising.
Yeah, for sure. So for Trost, he was asking about the absence of movement in this game and kind of nullifying tactical options by pinning. It's certainly a play style that is viable in the game, and I'm glad that it's there, because it keeps the high output armies in check. There's kind of been an arms race, and we see the Man Crusher dying there to the disease right now.
His last wound.
Yeah. So there. Oh, he did fall down and kill a Puscoil. So Timba.
Nice.
So there is I'm glad that it is in the game, because a lot of high output armies don't have screens or choose to have limited screens, in order to have more output, obviously. But this type of list keeps that honest.
So it sounds like the Gatebreaker on the center and right each took 2 mortal wounds from disease points, and the one on the left took 4 mortals. So not insane, but it's just a couple extra damage, chipping those units down.
Chipping, yeah. And you do gain disease points on your turn and your opponent's turn, so it will rack up.
Awesome, and I have a question here from M in the chat. Just actually sounds like a local player to Southern Ontario, which is awesome. Looking for resources on finding events and tournaments. Most events in our area are usually posted on Facebook. Following the different hobby stores in different towns and cities. That's one way to keep track of it. But yeah, joining groups like I know Age of Sigmar Facebook group. We have the Canada Age of Sigmar Facebook group, as well as Discord channel. So we're often talking about events in those, or you can ask, and people will be super helpful to help you find events. But it's one of the great things about Southern Ontario is we do have kind of a flourishing scene kind of emerging post several lockdowns, and everyone's eager to get back into playing some AoS.
Yeah, I would find the closest store to you. Start there. You'll probably, if there's a tournament, don't be afraid to jump in. Once you jump in, you'll probably meet some of us or some of the local tournament goers, and we can keep you updated on other events. We always talk to each other word of mouth. Again, store Facebook pages. So Mitch does score 5 primary, 4 for the middle ones, 1 for his own. Yep. His battle tactic, which is aggressive expansion, which we said was pretty much guaranteed.
Yep.
And he killed a monster, so that's 8 points for Mitch. Big turn.
Big round 1, yes. And looks like Yury has gone for monstrous takeover to hold that center objective. That one should be a
which is
lot
what you
for
predicted.
him.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't die there, which he's got quite a few wounds left. He's got 17 wounds on him now. He's half health at Maggotkin, so not a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, that he survives. Yeah.
But he has casted Mystic Shield on himself in the center there. So that's going to be big for, again, very little rend coming out from the pus oils. So
I was about to say, stack that with Finest Hour, your +2 to save, but oops.
No Finest Hour. Exactly. Again, huge. That's 2 turns.
2 turns, yeah.
I'm sure would have loved to do that on 2 different Maggotkin here. It's we have, I think, lost 3 bugs total, so 13 to go. My math is good.
Yeah, that's still 104 wounds, and then a 5-up ward means that it's another 50% on top of that. So Yury still has an uphill battle here at 150 wounds that he has to effectively go through to kill all those bugs.
Yep, and Mitch obviously, or as we talked about, losing his general here turn 1 does mean he's a little hungrier on command points, as you said. But he did get here the heroic leadership with his Lord of Afflictions. Yeah. Yep, so he at least has that 1 command point to use. Oh, wow. Yeah, we'll see how much...
Interesting... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, it's going to be interesting to see how much Yury can do here on his turn now. And I think turn 2 priority is Yury's going to be wanting that, obviously, here to try work his way out of the clogged up board here.
Yeah, the interesting tactic, or like the thing that interests me about Yury's turn is, does he keep all 3 megas in combat? I think maths wise, you either keep 1 or you keep all 3. Just because if you get the double, you can threaten both the middle points and potentially on turn 3 threaten your opponent's home point. Gives you more time for your wounds and could potentially heroic recovery once you're out of combat. And if you keep them in, you swing. Obviously, you want to swing with the middle one first so that he can kill some Pusgoyles and survive the hit back. But then that means on one flank or the other, you're getting hit back as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like we are in the shooting phase right now with some boulders being thrown. The Datebreaker on the right doing 2 wounds, the center one doing 3, and the Datebreaker on the left missed with his boulder, unfortunately. Oh.
Yeah, interesting that he kept all 3. That was kind of...
Yeah, it did look like he was measuring earlier with the 1 Mega Guardian, and I think because they are wounded, their movement is already being bracketed. So
and unfortunately, retreat is not a normal move now, so they cannot jump over your opponent's models and ignore them on the retreat. Sorry.
Yeah, this is it'll be big. Obviously, Yury just needs to roll better than he did with that center Guardian this turn. He's doing like there's 5 Pusgoyles over there. And into those 2 Gatebreakers on the left-hand side. They could chew through them relatively quickly, if they get a couple like hits through with those Rend 3 attacks, like those will do some damage. Only a 4-up save on the Pusgoyles, which is solid when your whole army's on a 4-up or better. But it's, again, with Rend 3, he's got no save, or, if he does all-out defense, he maybe has a 6-up save.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see where the other Lord of Afflictions is as well. Because if he kills that, then he has basically access to 1, maybe 2 CP every round, not even every turn.
That's true. And
that's the
looks like on the right side we're into the heroic or monstrous actions with the Datebreaker on the right stomping, but failing to deal any damage because of Mitch's ward saves. That resiliency 5-up. Again, we talking about Yury can chew through the armor save, but still having that 5-up ward is huge. And okay, it looks like at the start of the combat phase, the Datebreaker on the right is using Feral Roar to fight at top profile.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he is obviously taking the most damage. This is again, we want to see some big damage out of these guys this turn.
Yeah, this is kind of the predicament that you're in currently with all 3 megas. It's like, which one do you go with first? You obviously want to protect the middle one because he's monstrous takeover. But you also want to protect the one on the right, so I don't know.
Tough decision, yeah. Just while they're starting to do some rolling for combat here, where is it? Just reading through chat. Gregory asked if we're coming to Pittsburgh GT in April. I don't think so. No plans, and April's a busy month.
I think it's the same weekend as Grand Clash, which is a big tournament up in Quebec. That's kind of a secret. No, it's
secret tournament. One of the biggest and best events kind of in our area. Well, now it's a big drive for us, but an amazing event. And we actually have a lot of the US American friends of ours coming up for it as well. So last year was 100 players. Yeah, last year was 100 players. This year, I think they're going to be opened it up to maybe 120 or more. So who knows?
Which is crazy. Yeah, for sure.
So looks like that Gatebreaker on the right only dealt 7 damage to 2 of the Pusgoyles, so doesn't even kill 1.
Kill 1, yeah.
And then the unit of 3 Pusgoyles in the center are activated next using all-out attack, and Yury has answered with an all-out defense. Oh, burning through CP now that he can. But
the good point by Josh there that not getting the D6 impacts from the charging from the Gargants is big.
It is.
He is multiple small units of just 2s, and if you can get that big fat base of the Mega, it will do D6 on multiple units, which effectively just,
I do. Thinking back to your comment earlier of, could Yury have held back further from, not been on the front line? That I think would have been a possibility too. I think doing that in conjunction with moving to one side or the other rather than spreading out would have been actually the best option for him. But again, we're all seeing this army for probably the first time for many of us, so it's hard to predict.
For sure.
Exactly how it's going to play out.
You potentially put the two the two man crushers kind of in an attacking position, so if you're given first turn, they could potentially capture both middle points, so you have that option. But if you lose both of those are, 320 points hurts a lot, but if you're able to potentially double with 3 megas, then you have a lot of output coming from there. It is a very, very long turn one. There's a lot of combat. It's full army versus full army combat there.
All 4,000 points nearly of this game are in combat right now. Besides the 2 bugs on the left, it has been a slog so far. We'll see who comes out on top in this one. And it looks like those Husk Royals in the center, that unit of 3, dealt only 4 damage to the Daybreaker. Now he was both +1 from all out defense, Mystic but he Shield. Also had Mystic Shield, so that's pretty big. Again, only taking 4 damage there. He may be able to take that kind of the left-hand side of center.
Yeah, if he can break out the 2 guys there, and he ignores the terrain, so he can potentially break out with that left Mega Gargant into the middle point, and then throw rocks while running to your opponent's home point. Yeah, that would be a pretty big play.
And he is activating right now, so Yury is with that Gatebreaker on the left. Used all-out attack, and deals only 6 damage to those Pust Oils.
Yeah, this is very surprising. I knew how tanky they were, but Megas do big damage. Yes. Especially with the -3/3 damage.
We've still only seen 3 go down. 1 Lord of Afflictions and a single Pust Oil from 2 different units. Now, obviously, a lot of wounds on different units, but the fact that everything's tied up is huge.
For sure. Sleepy Gary did ask what next US event will be at. I think I will be the only one who will be at the Bay Area Open in May. So that's my next US event. I'm trying to hit as many GTs as possible this year, so you might see me, just come say hi.
Yeah, definitely. You'll be in enemy territory down there. But I know we are close to the border here in Southern Ontario. I know there's like a number of GTs throughout the year in Detroit or Michigan, Detroit area that I'd love to hit up this year. I always love going out to Du Bois.
Later on.
Yeah. I know, Carl, we had previously planned on going to Nova the first year of the pandemic when it got canceled, so we missed out on that, but hopefully we'll be down at Nova and the other big ones. I know Summer Slaughter we have tickets for as well, but haven't worked out all the details there, at least for myself. Yeah,
you'll definitely be seeing me quite a bit. Is the LVO your... Oh, wait. We have some damage here. The left plus Goyle Bloodlords deal 7 damage.
That Gatebreaker, yep.
So, looking at it now, it looks like 21 damage on the left Gatebreaker. You got 20 damage on the middle one. And then you have 25 or 26 damage on the right one. So, most of those Mega Gargants are 7 to 9 wounds left, which is, once they start to fall down and you don't have the damage output to punch through the bugs, it's looking pretty grim.
It is, but obviously priority will be big here. Also worth noting, Mitch is going to be rolling for those disease points at the end of Yury's turn as well.
That is a good point. Yeah, the middle Gatebreaker looks like he has 7 disease points.
Yep, maxed out.
We're getting one. Oh, just one. I thought there was two Pust Goyles leaving the field there, but unfortunately it was only one.
Yeah, so else is going on here? Looking at Midwest Meltdown in July. There's so many events. We'd love to do them all. I know a lot of us we're trying to do like a GT every month or so would be ideal. I'd love to hit at least 6 or 7 GTs this year. But myself having a small child at home, it's difficult. So if anyone feels like coming to babysit for a weekend so I can go play Warhammer, come let me know.
Yeah, the center Gatebreaker does 13 damage.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, Gatebreaker. It looks like that flank is starting to free up a little bit, but
taking 2 plus Royal Blight Lords off there with that damage. So yeah.
Yeah, plus Royal Blight Lords 10 times fast.
I know. I don't even want to say it one more time, but we've got a lot more game left. And yeah, a slog, if nothing else. Besides that, turn 1, we saw a lot of the pre-game move and then the first move on Mitch's turn. There's been no actual movement on Yury's turn. Just some pile-ins.
Yeah. It's eye-opening. Again, like I theoretically know what the Puscoils do and this sort of list does, but seeing like a top army with a very, very good general and Yury being pinned like this, when that's his game plan, so you're going into his strengths of pinning, scoring objectives, and coming out on top and looking very good is scary. I haven't been able to play a list like this, so being able to watch this game, I learned quite a bit.
Yes. Yeah, you think this the strategy of the typical strategy of the Guardians, the Mega Guardians, is being used against them, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And very effectively at that. So yeah, looks like hopefully, again, as we say, Yury can take that left side of the board, and free up those 2 Mega Guardians, to take objectives and go help out on the remaining bubs. But we'll see. This is going to be big.
So Tross did ask, is there a Canadian team at the ETC? I don't believe so. We are going to AoS Worlds. I don't know if that's similar or the same.
Yeah, so
I don't believe so.
The ETC was the former event that Worlds spawned from. I see AoS splitting off. I don't know if the ETC is running its own event still for AoS. But for the AoS World Championship, we are sending a team from Canada. And so we'll be going there in May. And Carl and I are both on the team, so we're going to be taking a stab at trying to win the World Championship.
So is Yury. Yury is also on Team Canada there. So
a number of players actually from Masters, unsurprisingly. Many of the top players, many of the top ITC ranked players in Ontario, Canada, unsurprisingly made Team Canada.
Yeah. Now, if you were to face this list, what would your game plan be? Seeing it from being Mitch's opponent. So, like, how general tips on how you would deal with this sort of oppressive, Alpha Strike army.
Well, in the context of this matchup, I think we've hit on some of the points of, Yury could have, put 2 man crushers up to kind of screen out, leave the Gatebreakers a bit behind so that they can be on the charge and punch. Also skewing to one side of the board rather than staying very central and spread out like Yury has, could have allowed him to only deal with half of the army at a time, while the other half is not able to charge in because of Yury's positioning. That would have, I think, if he's probably killed nearly half Mitch's army at this point. Now his Gatebreakers are unfortunately dwindling in health, but if he could have dealt with only half at a time and only taken half the damage that he has so far, that could be a totally different game, I feel.
Yeah. I think if you had the right Gatebreaker where the other 2 Gatebreakers are, or not even in combat. So let's say these 2 Gatebreakers are where they are and they got, were pinned, and then you have another gatebreaker. That gatebreaker might be dealing with 2 pus goils on the left-hand side right now.
It does.
And he's gonna clear them.
Yeah, it does look like the turn is over. I think it looks like Yury took about 9 damage from the disease points on his various guardians. He did. Okay, so we are rolling priority. Mitch rolls a 3, and Yury just rolled a 6. So actually, Yury does win priority here. So
Game's still there.
Yeah,
he needs to free himself.
He will have the choice. He did score 3 points on his turn, 1 for his home objective, and then 2 for his battle tactic.
Yeah, this game plan, or this battle plan, sorry, allows you to rack up a lot of points.
It looks like that last Pustoil actually ran to Battle Shock.
Okay.
Because I think the Guardians do -1 to Bravery. That last one, because he killed 2 this turn, that last Pustoil must have ran on a 6, which is fortuitous for Yury, obviously. And we are into round 2, so Yury is taking the turn here, unsurprisingly. He has chosen to do Finest Hour with his Gatebreaker.
Now that he can.
Yep, now that he can, with his Gatebreaker on the right. And the cycle then, as you mentioned, does move to Nauseous Revulsion this round. So, subtract 1 from charge rolls, and enemy units cannot finish a pile in closer. So, here, because they're already in combat, I don't think that's going to be too big of a deal. He's not going to be on the charge anyway. So, won't have too big of a turn, an impact on this turn.
Yeah, and he did choose Conquer, so he's going to be trying to control that left-hand middle objective there easily if he can get 1 Gatebreaker on it.
Yeah, it does put him in a pickle, though. He would obviously love to be out of combat, right, with one of them, so he could also charge and kill that unit of 2 bugs. But
yeah,
the fact that there was just so many units into him, rough.
Yeah, it's one of those where if you move that middle Gatebreaker out, since Mitch has 1 bug touching it right now, if you're unable to pile it, I hope Yury measured 3 inches if he piles in to the right.
Yeah, and with that left Gatebreaker to tag that center objective, because he's not on it right now.
4 points. Yeah.
I think actually also a point to talk about in terms of strategy for Yury. Talked about putting the Gatebreakers a little bit behind. I think if Yury did skew to one side, he could still put those 3 Gatebreakers right on the line. And with how, if you keep them real tight, there's probably only 3 or 2 or 3 Pustoils that would have been able to fit into each Gatebreaker. So
they are big bases, yes.
Yeah, it would have limited the number of units charging in, the number of attacks he's taking, and maximize Yury's damage back. That's a potential strategy, in this matchup. But hopefully Yury's able to claw it back and work his way out. Down 5 points turn 1 is pretty big as well, let alone, obviously the position he's in damage and health-wise with his army. Still has the 3 big boys, but they're limping.
Ugh, the right Gatebreaker and the left Gatebreaker just missed their boulder shots.
Ouch. And obviously the one that retreated can't shoot at all, so no damage there from the Gatebreakers. Shooting is huge. And that damage is no joke. Sorry, that shooting.
4 damage, -3, 4 damage is 8 potential damage. That's a plus goal. Ooh, we're seeing it right now. Looks like he's gonna be able to tag it. Yeah. Just
very close.
Oh. Yeah. So Trost did ask it'd be interesting to make an interview of the team captain. Now we do have the team captain right now commentating a game. But the Honest Wargamer did interview all the team captains from every single team, and I guess we'll be releasing those interviews at one point or the other. So stay tuned on that channel to see our Canadian team captain, Jordan Duncan, interview about Team Canada.
Hopefully not embarrass everybody.
I don't know what he said about our team, or or our game plan. Hopefully, he didn't tell the people too much. But it is 8 players and a coach is the team.
So 9 of us total that will be heading down. Obviously, this is the first year we've been working for a number of years, towards putting a team together. Obviously, pandemic and other hurdles the past couple of years have made that difficult, but super excited that we'll be for sure heading there this year. Have our team ticket. We're all getting geared up and obviously doing lots of practice. We did have a practice last night over at X Planet. Shout out to our homeboys over at X Planet Games, but practice there last night and able to get weekly practice in has been great for lots of testing to do. Right, it's going to be interesting trying to predict what we'll see. Teams, the team's environment definitely skews lists, and
for sure
we'll see different things. So,
if the Gatebreaker did use Feral Roar, so I believe they're attacking first.
That's dangerous. And you're right though. The Pus Drill's over there using all out defense, but that Gatebreaker attacking with the one on the right. Now I think he only has a couple health left. I think it's 5 or less. But attacking there first means Mitch might have an opportunity to block Yury from piling onto the center objective.
That is very true, yeah. Because if you pile onto the right hand or onto the left, sorry, you can't get further.
Yeah.
And you can't get closer.
Yeah, this will be interesting. But I guess Yury obviously wanting to do the damage, get the output from this Guardian using Feral Roar before he goes down. Hopefully he's at least able to put a ton of damage in. I've seen 1 Pus Royal lifted off the table so far over there. Oh, this is tough. It's like obviously Yury is definitely on the back foot right now, being trapped in his deployment zone all round 1, and round 2 has retreated 1 guy out to tide out this spot. This is obviously
split attacks as well. Brave choice.
It looks like
9 damage total.
Dealing 9. Yes. Yeah. So we are seeing one of the big weaknesses as well with the Mega Guardians is they don't have small cheap units to throw on objectives.
Yep.
We see both Mitch's home objective and the right objective are completely empty. But,
there it is, Mitch locking down the middle objective.
Oh yeah. Potentially, the Man Crushers could do that, but we saw both Man Crushers, I think, die in the first battle round for sure. So
yeah, they have a 5-up save with 12 wounds, and unfortunately they are monsters. Battle line gives your opponent a lot of opportunity to just target one of those Man Crushers for battle tactics. But consequently, they are much cheaper, still count for 10 bodies, and are fairly quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and so activated with those 2 Pus Royals, Mitch has chosen to go for all-out attack now. His general is dead, so he did only get 2 CP this round, but he did get he got heroic leadership earlier in the turn with that Word of Affliction, so not too dry on CP yet, unfortunately for him, but one of the great things about Chaos and running low model count units is, inspiring presence isn't a concern. Yeah. I want to give a quick shout out to Arcane Fire for joining our premium team. Premium team obviously is the best way to support the channel. It's the only reason we're able to produce content like this. So thank you to everyone who does support us in that way. Obviously, we see a ton of the you guys in chat right now with the premium member banners showcasing how long you guys have been supporting it. So I want to say a big thank you again to all of you guys. We wouldn't be able to do any of this without you. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. I get to enjoy, commenting on games and playing games with my friends, having fun, but we can also bring that fun and that enjoyment to other people for sure.
Yep, and like this, show you all the filth, hopefully before you have to face it, so that you can be a little prepared for it. But
For sure.
looks like those 2 plus oils on the left dealt 5 damage to that Gatebreaker over there. And he's only got 4 wounds left.
Yeah.
That's rough. So even winning the double with like just the damage from being in combat and the disease points racking up, it's just chipping those gardens down too fast.
Ooh, the left Gatebreaker finally did some work, dealing 15 damage. 15 damage, and
Nice.
there we see them being removed from the table. Now, this is a very interesting game. What if the right Gatebreaker survives? Then Mitch is just gonna be locked up.
Oh no.
Oh
Oh no.
Disease.
So it looks like Mitch is rolling disease points, and that Gatebreaker on the left has died to disease.
So I am just reading the notes here. This is crazy. Mitch forgot to attack with the full right side.
Okay, so
And then they're just doing it now. It doesn't impact the left side of the map at all, so I think both players were okay with
a little out of
with
sequence,
that.
but you do have to go through combat anyways. It's not something that you can opt out of.
Optional, correct.
No worries there. But I mean, look at the left side of the table. It's completely clear of the bugs that were in combat from those 2 Gatebreakers. If we had have seen the 3 Gatebreakers together on one side, they would have for sure already taken a flank, right? Like,
yeah. And then you start to spread them up so that the bugs need to split apart or all jump to one Gatebreaker, and then you're just scoring home objective or side objectives, which is massive, right?
So all those bugs on the right did take down that other Gatebreaker, so it is looking pretty rough here.
So that middle Gatebreaker's 23 wounds taken.
Yeah, I would. So we're going to Nurgle Tomb 2 now. Yury stores 2 points for his that objective in the center. 2 points for the objective as well as his battle tactic of Conquer. So scored 4 in total. Still down 1, even though he's had 2 turns.
Lord Billy, thank you so much. We're trying things out. We're seeing what works. I mean, everybody has different tastes, so we're still going to be giving you the awesome condensed battle reports, Season of Warfare. But we're trying out and showing you these tournament games because this is a different environment when you come, especially Masters, where all 8 players are the best in your area, and so you go in there with the mindset to win. And so you see these games that you're seeing currently right now be what you would see at top tables and GTs.
Yep. Now again, man, it really makes me wish to see this matchup replayed and again talking about some of the changes now that Yury has this experience, how he would play it differently. Because even like throwing those 3 man crushers together on one flank and even having the Gatebreakers on the outside to try and rush some of the objectives.
Mm-hmm.
There could have been some opportunities, but again, it's so big. Whenever you play a new army for the first time, you don't know what to expect, especially something like this in a new edition with a completely new battle tome. Really changed up the army, really shaking things up. This has been a wild one to say the least.
So Mitch is going for the home run swing here, which is to take Conquer. I'm assuming he's taking the left objective, since that is Yury's only objective that he holds. And so he would have to take down that Mega Gargant in order to do so, and he's lining up here for the charges. Looking like 12 wounds is what he needs to do.
Yeah. And obviously he's got the mortals from impact, hits, so we'll see how many charges he makes in. We could see this Gatebreaker go down here.
Woo! Big charges there. Matthias, crucial. Yes. I do remember meeting you at Red Harvest, my friend. I hope I get to see you in more tournaments here in Ontario. I'm gonna try to go to BC as well to play over there. You guys have a very, very competitive meta, and I would just like to say that you guys were all great guys, and I wouldn't mind going over there to play.
100%. Definitely, and that's a big thing with both Team Canada and like the Canada AoS Discord and Facebook groups, trying to connect the communities a little more. Get everyone more involved. Yeah, we're in such a big country in Canada, so trying to get everyone,
Yeah, easier to fly in some U.S. states.
So, obviously, love that you guys were able to make it out from BC for Red Harvest, and we'll be, hopefully seeing you guys there again or at other events, as well as, everyone. We're heading over again to Grand Clash in Quebec soon, so that'll be a great one in April next month. So too far away.
It's very funny. You know how you guys here in chat know, and those of you who are watching, Cat Sass, where Cassie Duncan, Jordan's wife, always sasses us out during our games. Well, we have a prompt here of what's happening in the game, and I will read you the prompt. Rolling impacts should be done as each model charges. I mean, there might be Duncan sass just in totality. I think it's just both of them.
Well,
but it should be, in all honesty, be done one at a time. Not that it impacts this game as much,
but just worth noting for properly doing it for rules purposes. Obviously, want to showcase the game being played correctly. Just worth noting.
Yeah, especially with models that are multi-model units. Again, you can make it harder for your opponent to charge you.
But we have seen the charges are completed. We've dealt 6 mortal wounds to that Gatebreaker just from the impact, so he's down to 6.
Looks like Yury's counting down now. So
5 remaining.
Is 5 remaining now.
Yeah, I love seeing the Cass Sass emojis in chat. We whenever we see fun comments, I always screenshot them and send them to Cass. She definitely appreciates all the love from the community. So thank you guys.
Got a little excited there for Pierre Luc.
Yes, one of my good Deepkin brothers. We're both very excited for the new upcoming book. So hopefully there'll be some spicy things in there that you'll see a table near you soon.
Pierre was I played Pierre at the very first GT I ever played.
Nice. So it looks like starting off combat, Mitch did go with 2 plus royals first, using all out attack, and dealt only 1 damage to the Gatebreaker. So that is why he's down to 5. The Gatebreaker has just killed the Lord of Afflictions and deals 4 damage to a plus royal.
So there is no more CP to be had.
Yeah. Well, no extra generating yet from heroic actions, but...
So it'll be 1 or 2 for the rest of the round. But 5 wounds is not very much.
No. Now, it sounds like Yury was very close to killing that last Pus Royal, which would have meant there would have been no other units attacking him this turn. He could have survived. There is this one Pus Royal lives, I think, with 1 or 2 wounds and getting all his attacks.
He can give more disease as well. So
it looks like
3 wounds left, and it looks like he has 6 disease on him. So okay, attacks continuing.
Up.
All right, that's not too bad. Saves. Okay. Oh,
one wound remaining.
I believe the disease will finish this Gatebreaker off. Here it is, disease. Yeah, that is.
Yep.
That is the 1 mortal wound needed to be done.
They are rolling. For Timber. And
he falls away, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is 2 rounds.
Yeah, wow.
Tabling a Mega Gargant list.
Yes, and even timbering there at the end leaves that 1 Pus Royal on 1 wound, so couldn't take the last one down. But that it was nearly, out of 16 bugs, there's 10 left on the table. one with 1 wound, so nearly taking 11 of them down.
I only see 6, my friend.
Yeah, there were 16 to begin with.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so
taking down 10. Sorry,
yes,
I thought that you said that there were 10 left.
oh, I may have done that. Sorry. Saying Pusgoyle Blight Lord so many times may have driven me a little crazy. Yeah, big game here. Wow, that wild. Obviously here, this is bottom of Mitch's turn. He scores 9 points for the objectives, as well as his battle tactic of Conqueror and a bonus point for killing a monster, giving him 12 points this round, putting him up 20-7 and securely, obviously here tabling Mighty Gardens, like you said, at the bottom of round 2. Have you ever heard of that happening before?
Like I said, the turn clock timer that you have is 1 mega a turn. This was 3 megas, 2 man crushers in 2 turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
it is a crazy amount of output.
I think just that, spreading out like he did really hurt Yury here.
Yeah, he needed to consolidate on one side or the other.
Yeah, limit the amount of units that are getting into him that turn 1.
Yeah, and if you actually bump the bases up against each other, you limit the amount, like you were saying before, of how many Puscoils, because they are on those big 60 mil bases. You can get 2, maybe 3, and they are only 1 inch reach as well, and the impact hits are only 1 inch, so you can protect nearly a quarter of your base to half of your base with other Mega Gargants shielding you, and that means whatever they throw at you, you can crunch, pile in 3 different gate breakers into that 1 unit, removing that pretty effectively.
We will be wrapping up here in a moment, so just quickly want to go over the results from the round. Now, the scores here are based on the battle points, not the actual victory points of the game. Obviously, this table 2, Yury did lose to Mitch. Mitch getting 35-7 in battle points. On table 1, Carl, I'm sorry to say it again. I did, it's funny, the battle points does not reflect how close that game was. It was 29-28 was the final score in victory points, so it was only a 1-point game. Decided actually by the grand strategy in the end. You actually were ahead on points by 2 until the grand strategy right at the end.
Correct. I couldn't hold the line against your hold the line.
Yeah. But otherwise, Nick with his Ideth Deepkin did get the win against Ridge with the Seraphon, so it there, showing that Deepkin still has play, even with that old book, at the end of the edition, or the end of the edition for them. I mean, they're still playing AoS 1 with that battle tome.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then Levon on table 4 did get the win against Matt with his Cities of Sigmar, so 34-50. And we'll be going into the finals, final game, in later this week. So stay tuned for that stream to go up, guys. Hope you've been enjoying this format. Again, always love the feedback and any input you guys have. So feel free to share it in the comments of the video or on our Discord if you're a premium member. Is the best way you can. And obviously, with the win here, Mitch is going to the finals, and I will be leaving him there. Yeah, so. Also, so Carl, you will be commentating on that game, and I will. We are planning to have a guest on the channel commentating alongside of you there. So hoping to see Noah. I know he has been a little under the weather, so that hopefully he's still up for it. But regardless, we'll have another game coming to you very soon. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this match. We'll see you soon in another battle report.
Bye.